On this episode of Industry Relations, Rob and I discuss the crisis of competence at NAR. Let's go. This is Industry Relations, a podcast that's at the intersection of real estate and technology from an insider's perspective, with Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Industry Relations with your two co-hosts. This is the notorious Rob Hahn, and as always, I don't know which way to point, the fabulous Greg Robertson. Whoa.
Hola, Rob.
Hola.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, is it right?
I got I went to my right eye keeps tearing, and I went to the optometrist or whatever they call themselves. Mm-hmm. Got like a little virus in there.
Oh,
so it gets a little teared up now. So, if I start crying, it's not because of you, Rob. It's because of this little virus in my right eye. Sorry.
It's not because of the situation in our industry, right?
God, I was tweeting or messaging somebody yesterday. It's like, this industry has shot itself more in the foot that it has no toes left.
Right.
on either foot. It's just,
right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I feel like that's going to be our topic of conversation today. And because it sort of happened last minute, we could not find a defender to come in and disagree. But maybe we'll have to kind of play that role, because between us, you'll see. Anyway, so we're talking about hey, what do we talk about in this show? But I think we got to sort of talk about this insurance thing running out, kerfuffle.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to call it that, right? So for anyone who hasn't seen, Inman just published an article by Andrea Andrea, right? And she does a great job, every time. And
always.
She got some really good intel in there, right? But she did end up quoting yours truly.
Well, I think she basically cited you as the source of this, right? So
right.
Yeah.
Because I guess I was the source. So the timeline's important. February 14th, so Valentine's Day, I heard from, and I think we kind of talked about this in a previous show. I heard from a friend of mine who's in the association executive MLS world, who was at a state conference of, and I don't know if I could say, so I'll just call it a major state. Let's call it a top 5 large state. So not a joke, right? Where the state CEO got up and basically was like, we're out of money. This insurance coverage is out, so you're on your own. And the entire room kind of freaked out. Okay. So but hold on. Let's be clear here, because there's different insurance that people have, right? So this was about one specific insurance policy, right? NAR's antitrust insurance policy. Right.
Not
out of
the
money.
E&O, not some other stuff that they talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. It's about because that's really what people are getting sued for. It's not like MLS and Associate getting sued left and right for, slip and fall and, fraud actions or whatever. They're getting sued for this commission thing, right? So that's February 14th. So I just put something out as a tweet. Hey, this is a rumor, right? Because again, I'm not a journalist, right? This is not my job. So I put it out there and say, hey, and somebody confirm. Okay. I think the first was Housing Wire that went and confirmed that story, right? They spoke to their sources who told them, yep, that's true. It's out of money. Okay. And I think you might have mentioned the Wall Street Journal might have mentioned it in one of their articles.
Yeah, there was an article I think it's about a week ago.
Okay. Right. So NAR comes out on Wednesday, apparently. So this is Inman reporting that came out. The story came out yesterday, but apparently NAR has sent out an email to state and local associate executives, basically saying this is ridiculous. Don't pay any attention to all this misinformation, disinformation, yada, yada. Okay. And I thought I would take a moment, with your permission, and this is all on inman.com. We'll put a link in below and all of that stuff. Right. And this is NAR's full email. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want to read the relevant parts. Okay. And I believe this is from Leslie Muchow. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She's the new general counsel at NAR. Okay. And here's what it says.
Well, she's assistant, or not assistant, but something. Yeah.
No, I think she's a full general counsel now.
Oh, okay.
Right? Under Katie,
Under Katie. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Who's
Katie's
like
the general counsel.
EVPS, I can't remember. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? Their leadership, right? Okay. As many of you know from our regular NAR insurance program education resources, as well as the overview video and FAQ available on nar.realtor, NAR's insurance policy with Chubb offers coverage for certain claim types. The cost to defend antitrust claims is one of those claim types, but liability for antitrust claims has not historically been covered. I'm writing to again answer questions about that insurance coverage that I have heard recently and to dispel rumors and misconceptions. Here are the facts. NAR's insurance has not changed. For antitrust defense, NAR and associations and MLSs who have not acquired excess insurance long have had a $1 million coverage limit. For lawsuits challenging cooperative compensation practices on the MLS, NAR has reached our maximum coverage limit of $1 million under NAR's primary policy. Chubb, our insurance provider, determined that the copycat lawsuits challenging cooperative compensation, quote, relate back, unquote, to NAR's 2019 claim under the 2019 Chubb professional liability policy. That means the primary coverage from NAR's insurance program does not cover state and local associations or MLS's defense expenses in these cases.
So $1 million total? Or per association? I mean, $1 million. I mean, I think, I've had my share of kerfuffles myself, but that don't go long. $1 million doesn't go long.
No. Here are then it's like, okay, that went out Wednesday. Okay. The Inman story just hit. I've been tweeting now, since last night about this. Like, I have some questions.
Well, it's also, I mean, okay, but let me go back to the first point that I made. Just again, somebody's got to be the guy here. I'm going to be that guy. All right.
Yeah.
So is it the fact that what was happening is that people were confusing which insurance was available, right? So, and that's what they were kind of upset about, that like, that there was a lot of, it made it sound like NAR had no insurance at all for anything, right? And then they had to kind of dispel that. Maybe that was the kind of the sentiment or the tone, why you got the tone from that email of like, or not. I mean, again, I'm trying to do my best to represent these guys.
if that's the idea they got, I have no idea. So because this is what I tweeted. My original tweet on February 14th said, I'm hearing that a major state realtor association CEO just told a room full of local AEs that NAR's insurance for antitrust defense has run out and that no more funds are available to local association or MLS from that source. Therefore, every local and all of the state associations is now on its own for legal defense costs. And I said antitrust defense.
Yes. So you said that specifically, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So again, I didn't say NAR has no insurance.
Sure, but then it's a game of telephone, right? You say that, somebody says, they drop off the antitrust thing and blah, blah, blah. It goes out there and becomes wildfire, right?
Fine. So here's the thing that I want to get to. Here's my questions, okay? And then literally Inman's story. Hold on. Inman's story at the top says, commission suit insurance coverage ran out, quote, some time ago.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And again, the email was sent to dispel rumors and misconceptions, okay? That we reached a limit some time ago, Mu Chao added, all right? And I've actually heard privately from some AEs like, yeah, man, this ran out a long time ago, right? Like, why are you pumping this up now, right? Like, you're making trouble. Like, what's wrong with you, Rob? I'm like, listen, this wasn't me pumping up trouble. This was a local AE who went to a state association meeting, heard the state CEO say, hey, y'all, we're out of money. She freaked out about it, told me, and I said, whoa, that's a rumor. Let me get it out. And here's the big point around it. The state association executive felt that he had to say this in a room in February of 2024. Okay? This wasn't something he said 2 years ago or 2019. This is something he said this year.
Yeah.
in 2024. The local A's in the room heard that and freaked the fuck out in 2024, in February 2024. So here's the question for NAR. If you knew that your insurance coverage had run out some time ago, did you tell anybody?
Well,
because it doesn't seem like it.
Okay, but this harkens back to our kind of complaints with,
Bingo.
With NAR's communication policies. Bingo. And they do cite that in the beginning. If you went to, realtors.org/resources/legal entity news / bylaws section 34 / whatever, you'll find that maybe, and I don't know this. I mean, maybe they did notify people on those forums or message boards that that are out there. It was news to everybody that I talked to. There were confusions about like which insurance they were talking about. I myself got confused. I mean, I think the article mentions it might have been as early as 2021. I mean, Jesus. So here's my question. I don't know if you know this or anybody does. I've read what you've written, but who's been paying the bills? Has NAR been fronting this?
I guess so.
Right?
Must be.
So is at some point, when does that sugar daddy run out? Right?
It's out. It's gone.
If they ran out back then, now NAR becomes a sugar daddy, right?
But you have to.
So are they gonna go back to the associations at some point for that money that they fronted them? Are they going to?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Keep paying.
I have no idea. And so now I have a whole bunch of questions.
Somebody's got to be paying.
I have a whole bunch of questions. Okay, we know that a whole bunch of locals got sued, right? Recently, because again, Sitzer, Merle, none of those named any local. Okay, but there's a case out of Texas that sued HAR. Metro, I can't remember. I'll go look up the list, right? It sued a whole bunch of local associations and MLSs, right? Including some small ones, which is what I brought up when I wrote about this, right?
Yikes.
Like Four Rivers or whatever. Okay. Hey, question for y'all. Four Rivers or whatever small association. Who's paying for your lawyers' bills?
Right. Good question.
Hey, San Antonio, who's paying for your lawyers' bills? Right? Is it just like your general counsel you have on retainer that's doing all this work? Because I'll tell you what, man. You want to go hire an antitrust lawyer to do corporate defense of antitrust claims today?
Yikes.
It's going to cost you. It ain't going to be free. Now, again, that's a whole, we probably have to get into as well. But here's the point I want to make, because you raised NAR, they said whatever, realtor dot or this and that and /. This is the association executive page at NAR, okay? At least available publicly. So, you know what? If NAR has come back with, well, Rob, you're in the public side of things. If you went to the password protected, there's a lot more fine. Fine. Why this exists, then I don't know. But here you go, feature resources. They sure talk about sustainability toolkit. Not a fucking word about insurance liability running out, but sure, sustainability toolkit. And then here's NAR insurance program, right? Guys, AEI Institute, let's promote our event. And then member engagement system and planning calendar, rare resource. Does any of this fucking matter if you just got sued for more than what your association's worth? No, I would say no. Here's my thing. I'm saying, shouldn't the entire middle of this right here, this entire first place you land on, if you are trying to communicate with those associate executives, should this not be alert, association survival guide, something?
Survival guide.
What you must know as an associate executive with everything happening. Am I crazy for thinking that is probably what makes sense? Not, let's pimp out AEI Institute. What the fuck, people? Get your priorities straight. Am I the asshole for doing that? I guess is the question.
Yeah, again, maybe there was something in 2021 that went up there that says a banner that says, "Hey, insurance ran out." We don't know. I mean,
We don't know.
We don't.
Sure.
Again, I think everybody was. It just sounds like the same old arguments again. It was there. We notified people. Most people. I mean, and the other thing is like, how big a deal is this? Is it best practice? Again, I'm trying to play both sides. Is it best practice for a local MLS or a local association to also go out and get their own insurance having to do with antitrust or something? Right now, if NAR only got $1 million, I can only imagine what a smaller association would get. Right? If they get like 250, I don't know. Right?
I actually heard from a local AE who told me that their MLS went out and got that supplemental. Right?
Supplemental,
for $500,000. That's going to be about a month of antitrust defense work. So good on you for getting it. It doesn't actually solve your problem. Okay. But here's the point I want to make. Like I said, maybe we need to have a whole show. Maybe we need to ask me anything, some whatever, and deal with all the things. Here's the thing. Set aside for the moment, the financial difficulties of associations and all that. Everyone can sort of see that now, right? Seriously, if you're a local AE listening to us right now, because we know a lot of you listen to this, if you're on the board of a local MLS, right, just do some math. You know what I mean? Just do some basic maths. Okay, San Antonio, I'm on San Antonio's board, right? I just got sued in this Texas lawsuit. And yes, the lawsuit is, whatever, baseless, groundless, yada, yada, all the things that NAR said about Sitzer, okay? Look at the damages in Sitzer. Do your market, San Antonio market, and go, what are damages going to be? Okay. And then compare that to your annual fucking budget. I guarantee the damage amount would be larger than your annual budget. I guarantee that the damage amount would be larger than whatever you have saved in your reserves fund, right? Knowing that, you then have to go, okay, now that we're sued, what do we do? Clearly, the answer is you're going to settle. Right? You're not going to fight this. Are you nuts? You can't afford it, right? Or your trade association with a nonprofit trade association using member dues, maybe start telling your members what legal defense is going to cost. Okay?
Yeah.
Because here's what I can say. I've looked at the public companies, Anywhere and Remax, right? Their finance, because they have to report financially, okay? Their expenses, and I don't know that it's legal expenses, but I suspect it is because professional consulting, other type of expense line went up something like $20 to $30 million from 2021 to 2022, right? When they were actively in the midst of these lawsuits.
Right.
So you're telling
that you're hypothesizing there, right? But I mean, what else? But we're knowing what it is, what's going on in the industry, and right.
And I just look at the law firms that are on the defense side, and that's okay. Those guys all charge about $1,500 to $2,000 an hour. They spent a lot of hours, so I'm just saying, fine. If that's what it costs those guys to defend against Sitzer, what's it going to cost you, San Antonio? What's it going to cost you, Four Rivers or whatever? What's it going to cost you, Metrotex? Do you have the money? If the answer is no, the insurance is unavailable, you're going to have some very serious conversations internally. My issue, my question, what's kind of pissing me off right now is, are you having those conversations today? Or were you having them back in 2019? Whenever was the NAR informed you that this liability insurance is no longer available? We've run out. When did they tell you? Did they tell you? Because this sure don't seem like it. It sure don't seem like it.
Yeah. So I mean, what's the agreement, or what's the bond, the understanding of, okay, I'm an association.
Yep.
NAR has told me one of the big reasons you want to join me is because we have all these types of insurance. We have E&O, we have this whatever's from Chubb that is, as you say,
Yep.
slip and
Yep.
fall. Maybe
Yep.
it's also antitrust is all built into that. Blah, blah, blah. Right. So when that runs out, is it still, I mean, because the nature was we handle that, is
Yep.
NAR on the hook for that and 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 responsible for any overpayment beyond the insurance? Like when I develop a relationship with NAR and I say,
Yeah.
okay, you're handling my insurance, so if something happens, you got me, right? And they go, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we got insurance, no problem. But what I don't know is what's the relationship beyond that? Is it that NAR goes to their people and says, hey, we're out of insurance? They go, hey, that's on you, buddy. Right? You told me you got this covered, and now you're telling me, what are you looking over here for? You handle it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody can tell me what the relationship is there.
I can almost guarantee there's no way NAR is going to go, oh, look, any overage will take care of it.
Okay, but that doesn't make any sense because what have they been? If let's say it happened, let's say it's 2021. There's no insurance paying for this. Who's been paying for it? It has to be NAR.
It has to be NAR.
Right? Okay, so if they're shocked to hear that the insurance was run out, back in some time ago, we're saying 2021, then that also tells me that nobody's come to them with a bill.
Of course, and they
right?
wouldn't have because no one got sued.
I mean, can't they rightfully assume because they weren't really kind of notified, or is somewhere buried in some document on some listserv somewhere that, oh, by the way, one day we might be coming for this money? I don't understand how that happens.
No, I don't understand how it happens, but I could tell you what my frustration is. Okay. Because I was writing in 2020, 2021, and people like James Duggins were starting to sound the alarm. Hey, you guys, the problem with Sitzer, okay, is not even that you would lose the trial. Okay. Oh, that's a huge problem for NAR. The problem with Sitzer, the problem with these lawsuits is it spawns copycat lawsuits.
Yeah. Well, you've been saying that a long time.
I've been saying that for fucking years, right? Yeah. That the problem is you survive a motion to dismiss. You survive summary judgment. You're now in discovery. And then ultimately you win at trial, like we saw with Sitzer. What's going to do is unleash a floodgate. And it's like fucking lawyers are going to start coming out of the woodworks and start suing everybody, right? And I've been saying copycat lawsuits are the biggest threat with this because even if you lose Sitzer, I know there's appeals. Right. And I was like, oh, there's appeals. So don't worry. You got years and years. Like, so don't even worry about it. We got this handled. Great. That's true for you. Problem is copycat lawsuits. So I've been saying for years. So therefore, as a local MLS, as a local association, you need to prepare. You need to be really thinking about how do we do this. The whole time I'm saying that, I'm sitting here going, and these locals through the NAR insurance program, you have liability. You have defense cost coverage, okay? The NAR insurance is never going to cover the damages or settlement, but it does cover, and it should cover, it's supposed to, right? It covers the cost of defense, like paying your lawyers. So therefore I said, well, as a local, as you're planning through all of this, you should be like, okay, listen, if we get sued, who are the lawyer we're going to hire? What's their fee? We know that we have this $1 million cap on coverage, so let's plan that out. That's what I meant. Okay, if it turns out that you had run out of that coverage in 2021, that would have been a really relevant fact for your locals to know in 2021, right? So there's so many multiple flaws and like things here. If some random ass blogger could figure out that copycat lawsuits were going to be a problem, you're telling me that NAR's general counsel and the many very high priced the world's best antitrust lawyers wouldn't have already known. By the way, one of the problems we're going to have with this case of this is copycat lawsuits will spawn. Who will the copycat lawsuits go after? They will go after our local MLSs. Why would they do that? Because they're named in the complaint as co-conspirators. This isn't some fucking like, no one saw this coming. We all saw this coming. It was you're named in the complaints, the co-conspirator, MLS, about co-conspirator. Everybody knew. So the fact that you ran out of insurance and didn't tell nobody, or if you did tell people, none of them knew, right? Because when I tweeted that out, it freaked everybody out. And now to go back and do this the misinformation, get the fuck out of here, people, right? And here's my issue with this. This is now the latest, because I've been thinking for a real long time, why does this bother me so much, right? Why does this bother me so much? What really pissed me off about it is, this is to me, the latest and clearest example that we have a very serious competency problem at NAR, right? And you and I both know a lot of the people. Well, I don't know as many anymore, but you know what I mean? We know some of the staffers, right? And they're really good people. They're nice people. They're sweet. At some point, I gotta go, are you guys competent? Are you good at your jobs? Because again, communicating to state and local association leaders is not my job. That is not Greg's job. That is your fucking job, right? And you could be like, well, we put it on the website, we sent emails. Clearly, you screwed up. Clearly, the results speak for themselves, okay? 2019 happens, these lawsuits happen. Why is it up to some blogger to warn state and local leaders about copycat lawsuits, which now have come to be? We're at 21 and counting, y'all, right? Why is that my job? Why is that our job? Why isn't it your job? Are you doing your job? Now, go back to something you and I talked about very recently. The Nike right speech open letter thing that they put out. Maybe we didn't talk about it. You know, the open letter they put out in response to the new Wall Street. I'm like, who wrote this? Who wrote this? Because I showed it on Twitter. ChatGPT could write this better and more human sounding than you fucks in corporate communications. Is that an evil thing at this point? I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying you're incompetent. Do your goddamn jobs is my plea. And I'm like, why does it bother me? Because my friends are realtors. My friends are working men and women. I know a whole bunch of people who are struggling. They make $60,000 a year. They go out to work their asses off, try and get buyers to pay them or sell them. And they're freaking the fuck out. They're not rich. And they're paying the dues for these people's jobs to get this level of competence. It pisses me off. It pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean, again,
sorry for the rant, but
no. I mean, I understand that, and again, and I'll use this term, and I know what you're going to say, but this is an atomic bomb going off here. This is one of your black swans. This is something that that nobody really dialed up. I mean, they should have. They should whiteboard this stuff out, but this is something, the 1,000-year flood. I mean, this is a big thing.
Yeah.
And, I would just give a little bit more grace, a little bit more leeway to say,
no,
hold on.
Sorry.
You had yours. I'm going to have mine right now.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, there's people there that are, that have been there, are there now, have left, whatever. This is like I said, an atomic bomb here. And not everybody's prepared to handle that situation. Right. And this happens not in this industry. This has happened in this industry. It's happened in others. Nobody really, I think, the ones that stand out are the ones that somehow figure out how to respond and how to quickly do this. I think what the problem with our industry is we just didn't have that. There is in the Wall Street Journal, and I think a couple other articles, there's a bit of arrogance here that people cite, right? And I think maybe in the writing of that you think there is a bit of arrogance in that type of stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know what the DOJ wants, right? Now we know a lot of different things. I think it goes back to the post you wrote about, first rule of getting out of a hole is to stop digging.
Stop digging, yeah.
And it's like somebody just take the shovel out of these guys' hands and just say stop, right? Because I think you're not doing any well.
But here's the thing. This is the reason why I was reacting. You know what? Time for grace and whatever, it's over. And here's why. I'll give you a specific example of what I'm talking about. Nike right. I don't know her. I've never met her. She's not from the industry. Do you know what I mean? I literally have never. She's probably an amazing, great, sweet woman. Great. Here's my thing now, okay? As the CEO, the interim CEO, coming out of media, she came out of the media space, right? Somebody on her team hands her, this is the open letter we are going to issue in your name. And she let that go through. Well, she didn't look at that letter, right? And said, this is the most corporate speak, most spin bullshit thing I've ever seen. Go back and redo it. She didn't say that.
Well, it goes even back to that first video they put out, right?
Sure.
Which was wrong. And they had to redo it.
Right.
And it was just embarrassing, right?
Right.
I mean,
right.
Yeah.
She's not she can't be CEO of NAR. I'm saying that judgment, that failure to, as the media CEO, to be like, you literally want to send this out in my name? Are you nuts? Right? The fact that you didn't do that you didn't immediately fire whoever that person was, that you didn't immediately fire the entire PR and communication department because you're a media specialist coming in and say, I'm going to turn this ship around. You can't turn around your own goddamn open letter. You got to turn NAR around? I don't believe you. I don't trust you. I don't think you're competent. You might be a good person, Nikea, right? I don't think you're competent based on the two things I've seen out of your administration, the two most important things to date. And I think we're, as an industry, as a board of directors, as the leadership team of NAR, y'all need to be doing some competence checks, right? And here's the thing: I don't know Kevin Sears. I think I met him one time, right? He went on the Anthony Lamacchia whatever and was recorded,
right?
The video thing. Here again, it's not about agreeing or disagreeing. Here's what I will say: Kevin sounded more human in that scenario. Just talk about, hey, but the DOJ is real. He sounded more human than anything NAR's put out in the last 5 years. Anything. Okay? Hey, Kevin, start doing some competence checks of your staff because your people are incompetent.
Well,
apparently.
there's degrees of that, right? Because I mean, you could get very real and be Lamacchia, and that guy was just a disaster.
Well,
right?
you could be, he's real, but
you have this, huh?
That you can't let him talk. I mean, that's incompetence of a different order. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there's something about being real and something about corporate speak, and there's something in the middle there.
Oh, of course.
You have to do that. And that, it's not something somebody has or, coming off the street, or we see it everywhere, right? We don't see a lot of that everywhere, right? So it's not an easy thing to do what you're saying.
I'm not saying it's easy, but here's my point. When I think about like some of the brokerage leaders I know, right? These are men and women who kind of worked their way, fought their way to the top, right? Love them or hate them, and I don't love all of them, right? Here's what here's what I genuinely feel. These men and women are really good at their jobs. They're good at being brokers. You know what I mean? They're good at recruiting. They're good at, organizing things. They're good at things. And since this is about communication, let's go back to communications, right? A lot of these brokerage leaders I know, they're not going to be like, hey, you know what? We sent out an email to the agents. They know. No. They're not settling for that. They're like, no. We're going to do 7 email campaigns, 3 webinars. And then we're like, hey, brokerage man, you're going to call every agent to make sure they understand shit because they're competent. Do you know what I mean? I don't know that what's our evidence at this point in 2024, after everything that's happened, the NAR is filled with competent people, right? And again, now I know I'm going to get attacked. Like, this is why Bill Brown got on my case years ago. It's like, you're denigrating the great men and women who worked their asses off, blah, blah, blah. And like, all right, man, just show me the fucking results then, right? Show me the results that you ran out of money years ago and didn't notify the people you're supposed to notify. Well, we did, but they didn't know. Okay, well, the result is they were surprised in February, right? That's the end result. Meaning like, okay, cool, it's not your fault. Somehow, though, you lost the game. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, sure, you want to cover your ass and justify it, fine, but you lost at the end of the day. At the end of the day, the people are not informed. At the end of the day, this open letter went out that sounded like it was written by a really bad robot. Like, okay, you could justify it all you want. At some point, though, you have to go, we are not winning, ladies and gentlemen, right? Here's my thing. Kevin Sears got to his point. I would imagine. Like I said, I don't know the man, right? But I'll use some other executives that I do know who were involved who were very firm in NAR, right? And I mentioned Sam DeBoard. He's been very competent at his core job of being a resource CEO. Back in the day, I remember Budge Husky. He was a big time. Budge is a fucking man. Like, he's competent at his job, right? Like, board of directors, influential people, whatever. And this is not just NAR level. This is at the local level as well, local and state levels as well. You guys might need to do a competence check on the staff, the people that are supposed to get shit done for you. Okay.
Yeah. Again, I always think it really starts at the top. And these, in the Wall Street Journal article, I think the title was "Realtors in Crisis," and that's what's going on here. I mean, just again, look what's happening. The guy, the market just itself in real estate is crazy.
Yeah.
The highest increase in interest rates in a short amount of time ever in the past 70 years or something.
Yeah.
You have the sexual harassment allegations, right?
Yeah.
You have these lawsuits. You have then the losing the lawsuits. Then you have these This is, I don't know who is, Superman is going to be competent to handle all this. I mean, this is just something that's unprecedented and they need, and it seems like as soon as they try to recover, it's another punch. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, I have some sympathy of what can be over there. You've had people leave the place,
Sure.
Goldberg left. You've had, other people leave. So people are new at their jobs right now. They're learning on the go in a situation where it is in crisis right now. Fine. So it's like, we got to have sort of like sympathy, some sort of something for people to,
Why?
Well, I mean,
hold on a second.
I don't know.
Greg,
I mean,
Greg, I agree. I'm not saying go win the game. Like, no, that's right. I'm saying the results ultimately speak for themselves. Proof is in the pudding. However, what I am saying is this: last week when we were talking about the DOJ letter, right?
Right.
Remember, Mike? We began by Mike saying the attorney who wrote that motion.
It's very clear.
I think it's Jessica Leal. She did a great job. The craft, right? That's what I'm getting at. Where's the craft out of NAR, out of state associates, out of locals, and out of MLS? Where's the craft? In other words, communication is your thing. That's what you're supposed to do. Show me that.
I mean, they got who's the top crisis PR firm in the country, right? I mean, didn't they say they hired like a PR firm or a crisis management firm?
And I think we all should learn who they are, so the rest of us avoid hiring them.
Oh, Rob, you're so brutal, man. Good Lord.
I'm sorry. At this point, we got to be brutal. Like, they're going to come out with this like crisis PR piece of bullshit email saying, we've known this for some time now. So you can ignore the Inmans and you can ignore Rob and you can ignore this. Like, okay, that's cool. You knew this some time ago. Did you tell anybody? Like, this is your idea of crisis PR? Are you
what
crazy?
What we're missing, and oh God, I hate to put this out in the universe, but I swear to God, this is going to happen.
Okay.
When does 60 Minutes get a hold of this mother? That is going to be, I mean, this is so 60 Minutes-ish.
Right.
I can see Leslie Stahl across the room talking to sellers and buyers and then talking to freaking Ketchmark.
Yeah.
And then bringing on who's NAR the industry is going to put up there. I mean, it's going to be a fucking disaster.
Put Nike right. Like, she's going to be interviewed and be like, "Are you kidding me?" Right.
I mean, it is
some whistleblower in like a dark room. Oh yeah, and with a fake voice, right? The distorted voice. Like, oh, I worked for 27 years. NAR didn't tell us jack shit. Like, what are you going to do then, right?
Well, I was told by my broker that the seller, commission was free because the seller paid for it. I mean, just it is just so. Like I said, I hate to put that in the universe, but that motherfucker's coming, man.
It's coming.
I mean, I can hear the clock ticking. Of course, the stopwatch ticking already, right?
But here's what really actually upsets me about this and pisses me off about this, right? Because again, you and I have been warning our listeners for, I'm going to say, at least 3 years. Copycat suits are coming. You need to prepare. This is really serious. Okay? For at least 3 years. Okay, here, this is like literally like how shitty things get. Let's say you're a small association / MLS. You have, let's say, 600 members. And honestly, if I go on the SP200 website, there's like thousands, like, no, not thousands. There are dozens of local associate MLS that have like 1,000 members or fewer. Okay. All right.
Oh yeah. I mean,
we know that for a fact.
Of the MLSs,
Right.
I mean, 250 of them have less than 500 members apiece.
Right. You're
going to
get sued.
522.
Right. You're going to get sued. You're not going to be able to pay an attorney because there's no insurance coverage, right? Which means you have to settle. And the settlement is going to be, well, hey, we want whatever, because you're small and you're rural, just a small amount of money, like $2.5 million will cover it. We ain't got $2.5 million. What are you talking about? We have 500 members, right? Okay, these lawyers who do you think they're going to go after? They're after the big pocket, right? They know the catch marks and the big guys have already taken. Who are they going to go after? They're going to go after whoever the local broker is.
The scraps.
Right? They're going to go after whoever has any money in their little area, right? If NAR, in my opinion, had done its job back in 2019, 2020, and gone to everybody and said, listen, guys, this is really serious. Here's the consequences. By the way, we're out of money, right? There's no insurance coverage for you. Don't think you're going to be able to, like, we're going to write a check for you to go hire lawyers. You need to merge today. You need, hey, little association, you need to get with.
Is that
this
possible
big neighbor.
now, though? Is that possible now?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, what basically would happen is a larger association or MLS would be taking on that burden now.
Right. Right. So if I'm the,
but there might be a better situation to do that.
I
mean,
right. It's like I got my own problems. Like, why am I taking right?
But at the same time, I mean, it's it's also a little bit of opportunity. You need to force these things to happen. And
sure.
I would, and to me, we've talked about this on the podcast before. If I'm one of these things out, you're going to get the best deals now. If you don't start having those conversations, or I've already known talking to the MLSs that you and I talked to, they've had those conversations. It's the smaller ones who are like, well, I don't know about Sally. She's been here for 40 years.
And
you need to close that deal.
Board seats, right? All that bullshit.
You need to close that deal now.
But what pisses me off is if NAR had done its job, those things could have been happening 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Things could have been happening a year ago, right? And everybody at every level, small, large, mid-sized, association leadership, they would know what the deal is. And they'd be walking into a situation. Maybe they say, we're not going to merge. We're going to wait to see what happens. But at least we know, right? We're making like informed decisions is my point, right? Now, here we are in 2024, like the jig is up. What's the language you use? Like, the zombies are here now.
Yeah. Zombies are over the fence. Yeah.
Zombies are here now. They're over the fence. And now we still have NAR talking about, oh, yeah, we knew this some time ago. Like, what? No one else did?
Yeah.
You're incompetent. You people, like, I'm sorry. Like, and I'm saying as clear as possible. Nike Arai was brought in as an interim CEO. She doesn't know jack shit about real estate. She's not from the industry. And NAR and the executive team and the leadership group made its decision for whatever reason that it did. Okay? To me, the fact that she did not catch the open letter, the video, and this shit now, maybe she deserves another chance, right, to prove that she is actually competent at what she does, which is supposed to be turnaround artist. All right. Miss Wright, start turning this motherfucker around. Like, now. You don't have a year. You don't have 2 years. You don't have 10 years to do this. You need to do this right the fuck now.
I know this is just your opinion. I mean,
it's just my opinion, of course.
But I mean, again, she's been on the job for how long? 3 months?
Since November?
Okay. So, 3 months, right?
Okay.
Come on, man.
How much time are you supposed to have?
Well, I mean,
presidents are supposed to have first 100 days. They pass all the legislation in the world.
She was not brought in that she was brought in because somebody, the current CEO left. It was, a quick thing, right? It's not something that
But they
their
brought
whole
her in
life
because
to
she's a turnaround artist, right?
Well, I mean,
They didn't bring her in because she knows real estate.
Yeah, maybe there's a method to the madness here. I mean, we don't know.
It's time to start showing.
Okay.
3 months already, right? And like I said, if she had come in November or December, whenever she took over, right? And then immediately started like, you know what? Head of PR, you're fired. Media operations, you're fired because I'm from media and I'm a turnaround artist, right? And we're going to have 40% layoffs because I'm a financial turnaround artist. Okay. She's doing shit. I understand why they brought her in. For 3 months, we didn't hear not a like what changed, right? What changed between when she was announced as CEO and today? Can you name a single change?
Well, they had another president resign.
But that wasn't her call, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like what changed? Nothing. And then meanwhile,
well, they aren't like having any more presidential. You know, I don't know what they're going to do with all those Harleys that.
I know, right?
Purcell bought.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like what?
Can I lighten our story real quick here?
Sure, of course.
Just a little bit of an intro. I went when we were talking about this, and I know I gave CoStar shit about this when they named Catchmark their person of the week, but I just went to the Wall Street Journal, which is owned by News Corp.
Yeah.
And again, you know, they own News Corp and they own Realtor.com.
Yes.
And I just went to go look really quickly to see what was mentioned in there. And you'll never guess what ad came up in the middle of the article. An ad for Realtor.com. Just talk about placement. Jesus.
Nice.
Anyway,
nice.
I'm trying to lighten the mood here, Rob.
I get you, man. And you know what? I'm gonna back off, like, because I think I made the point, right? I'm gonna have to write something up and really think about this. But I think what pisses me off is, like, if you're gonna be a leader, it's just again, like, and you know this as a leader yourself, right? If you're gonna be a leader, the very first thing to me is you have to be competent. You have to actually be good at your job, right? Whatever that thing is. Being a leader is not just like a popularity contest. You know what I mean? It's not just like some feather in your cap. Like, and maybe that's the problem that we in the industry think of it in those terms, right? Like,
well, I mean, I think a good leader, he helps. To me, I've always tried to be somebody that pulls my team, right?
Sure.
I want to support my team. So I've always tried to, and I think everybody says this is cliche, but you want to hire people that are a lot smarter than you, which has been a very easy job for me to do. Of course. So, and then and help them do that, right?
No, but here's the thing. Like, I've seen you, right? I've seen you sell. I've seen you pitch. You're really good at it, right? I've seen you manage. I've seen you bring people together. You're really good at it. And I'm saying, fine, leaders, if your job is to manage people and build it, then do those things, right? But then the second part of it is, as a leader, you got to be good at your job. What is your job? If you're an IKEA, right, your job is to turn around NAR, right? Well, so far, the two things that you've been involved with is not giving me confidence. Turn that shit around, right? If you're Kevin Sears or the new executive committee, like you're in those because you're really good at building, okay, fine. Start showing that, right? Because you know what doesn't say that? You know what doesn't give anybody confidence that you all in the elected leadership are good at your jobs? That state and local associations had no idea that insurance had run out some time ago, right? Start holding some people accountable. Why is it so hard for anybody in Realtor world to get fired? But can you not get fired for being shitty at your job? Apparently not, because we have clear examples of this, like up and down in the last year or two. Nobody's getting fired. Like, hey, Realtor elected leaders, start, showing the rest of us, because you are put into leadership position because you're supposed to be good at your jobs, right? Be good at your job. Let's start there. And then we could talk about the rest of things. Because here's what doesn't work. What doesn't work is we're in the midst of this catastrophe, right? We're in the midst of like the perfect storm, and our captain doesn't know how to like sail a boat. Like, can we first start with, let's get some leaders in positions of power and they're good at their job, right? And then go, okay, now how are we going to navigate this? And it's not like the industry somehow lacking in leadership. Like, people have proven over and over and over again. We have some amazing leaders, some amazing entrepreneurs. Like, we can't get them. We can't go get, I don't know. I'll give you an example. I know for a fact that I am not his favorite person. Okay. I know that for a fact. And he's done some shit that I've questioned over the years. Right. But if someone told me that Gary Keller was going to step down from his position or take a leave for a year and come in and serve as interim CEO of NAR, I'd be like, you know what? At least that man is super competent at his job.
Right.
Right. Do that. You can't do that. Then that's why we have what we have. Right. That's why. And then whatever happens, y'all deserve 100%. And it's not about the membership who are blameless. It's not about the whatever the fuck. It's because, like, hey guys, the first rule of leadership is you have to be competent. And it's high time y'all start showing the rest of us some of that. Please. End rant. This month. Okay. Let the hate mail flow.
I'm gonna, hopefully, it's a difficult job. I sympathize with everybody over there.
Sure.
And it's just what a shit show that you have to come in here and
sure.
And let's hope we have a better second quarter here.
Let's hope we see some changes.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Listen, content is everything. Two Brothers Creative makes it look easy. Right now, business owners really only have two options. The first option is hire a big firm. Now, this big firm's going to come in, make you think that they invented all the algorithms, and start charging you thousands of dollars every month. You don't want to do that. Second option is to do it yourself. Well, that means you got to learn SEO, SEM, copywriting, marketing techniques on the web. You should be really focusing on your own product. But now there's a third option. It's called Content in a Box. Give Two Brothers Creative 30 minutes a week and they'll handle everything. Plus, they'll show you how to bring it in-house later on. They'll rebuild your marketing foundation and give you tools and techniques and a new marketing playbook that'll actually produce real results and help you grow your business. Two Brothers Creative will give you the confidence and know-how to tell the SEOs and SEMs and all those other acronyms to get fucked. You're in control now. Get started today at thecontentbox.com.